Good news, guys. That 6,000 page abortion passed through Congress. You guys are going to be getting your free $600. Oh my God. Yeah. It comes at a cost, and who even knows if Trump's going to bother signing it. He could just veto it. He's floated that idea out there as well. And it would be good if that fucking atrocious bill gets vetoed. It's really not good. Like, we touched on it yesterday, but because it was 6,000 pages, it was nearly impossible to get through everything that they were going to do. And of course, more stuff has come to light today. But hey, it looks like probably the incoming potential president says, hey, it's a down payment and he wants to spend more of your money by giving it back to you in the future because he's going to want to continue the lockdowns and wear a mask, you fucking asshole, and follow the science. I don't know. We'd read more, but this is the New York Times, and what brain cells I have left we need to keep through the end of the year. But it was not without going through significant opposition that this bill passed in both houses of the legislature. Like, okay, it got overwhelming support on both sides because they just want to make sure that the people get the money in their pockets. Yeah, ugh. We'll get to what's actually in there as well. But first, we got to see that there were 6 GOP senators who voted against the coronavirus relief package. Blackburn, Cruz, Ron Johnson, Rand Paul, and Tim Scott. Good men, and they have very good reasons. Let's go over a dude who's been in a bunch of videos lately, and I'm starting to like him more and more and more with Rand Paul. To so-called conservatives who are quick to identify the socialism of Democrats, if you vote for this spending monstrosity, you are no better. Fucking guy rules. He rules. Let's see what Rick Scott had to say. Likewise, Scott railed against what he believed was unnecessary expensive measures, warning that there would be consequences for taxpayers. Yes, exactly. Once again, in classic Washington style, vital programs are attached to a massive omnibus spending bill that mortgages our kids' and grandkids' futures, he tweeted. Therefore, I cannot support this bill. Exactly. And you probably will feel the same way by the end of this video. Marsha Blackburn from Tennessee. Oh, okay. Okay, I've seen the last name Blackburn and Senator Blackburn before, but I didn't know it was a lady. That's good. Sorry. Blackburn recognizes that the legislation will accomplish a number of positive goals, such as the development and distribution of vaccines, assistance to schools, and a help for small businesses, but claimed it was not worth the steep cost. Yeah, there are some good things about that, okay, like retrofitting businesses, schools, even though I think that that's kind of fucking retarded based on what we know about the spread of this stupid virus. But okay, yeah, distributing vaccines is probably important when it comes to that, and help for small businesses. Duh. You don't have to be on life support in order to empathize that most small businesses are either dead or on death's door. I cannot support nearly $2.4 trillion in spending that will make recovery even harder. But I think, what was that, Moody's that said that Joe Biden's plan was so fucking avuncular and effusive that the economy is just going to come roaring back. Ugh. I have serious concerns with provisions buried in this, nearly 5,600 page bill, such as expanded visas, Pell Grants for prisoners, and households with illegal aliens receiving economic impact payments. For that reason, I voted no on passage of this legislation. Marsha, that is merely just the tip of the iceberg. That was probably what your aides got a chance to read. And Ron Johnson. The dysfunction of Washington, D.C. was on full display as Congress combined COVID relief with a massive omnibus spending bill 3 months past the deadline and into the current fiscal year. The monstrosity was 5,593 pages long and passed only 9 hours after Senate first saw it. I don't know how fast the world record for speed reading is. I don't know if you could get through 5,500 pages in 9 hours and make an informed decision on it. But apparently an overwhelming amount of Democrats, I'm pretty sure all of them, except for the 2 that we will cover, spoiler, 2 House Democrats didn't vote for it. I bet you can guess which one didn't vote for it. But the second one might surprise you. Remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. Ugh. I simply could not support this dysfunction, so I voted no, he said. And then we got Ted Cruz. It's absurd that to have a $2.5 trillion spending bill negotiated in secret and then hours later demand an up or down vote on a bill nobody had time to read, Cruz tweeted. It's hard to go back into regular speaking cadence after, doing Porky Pig, I suppose. Cruz also railed against Democrats in a statement posted Tuesday morning, claiming that the bill advances the interests of the radical left, special interest, and swamp lobbyists, with funding going towards expanding authority for more H-2B visas, for foreign workers, while a near record number of Americans remain unemployed. Exactly. He also says it sets the stage for the Democrats to implement the Green New Deal by claiming a need to meet the power demands the United States go through clean, renewable, or zero-emission energy sources. That's some of the stuff that we covered yesterday. And, yeah. Remember, Joe Biden said he did not support the Green New Deal. Kamala Harris did. But she's not in charge yet. And the Green New Deal, according to Biden's website, is just a framework for what he's trying to accomplish with green energy. And the only good senator in Utah, Mr. Mike Lee, voted against this. Meanwhile, his counterpart, oh boy, did he vote for it. Of course he did. He couldn't grab his ankles fast enough for the Democrats. Because of the length, it is impossible for anyone will have the opportunity to read it between now and the time we have to vote, Lee said in the video. I am absolutely certain that this has been cobbled together by a very small handful of members of Congress and their staffs, and to the exclusion of 98% of the members of Congress of both political parties in both houses. Good statement, Mike Lee. I trust a man who has 7 letters in his name. But that was the Republicans out of the way. There were two Democrat House members who voted against it. Of course, one was Tulsi Gabbard, because she actually has a brain between her two ears. If only she would reverse her stance on guns, but like how she's kind of walked back her abortion stance to a much more centrist, maybe even conservative stance, I think she can probably be swayed on guns as well. But yeah, other than that, like I've said before in a bunch of different videos, super solid lady. But Rashida Tlaib, fucking one of the members of the ethereal squad, voting against this. Okay. Yeah, Tlaib called the bill woefully inadequate, while Gabbard dubbed it a slap in the face to Americans. We'll get to Gabbard's statement, but first we got to cover what Rashida Tlaib was voting against, because I seen this and I was like, what the fuck? That don't make no sense. Why didn't AOC and Creole Mrs. Clean there, Ayanna Pressley, not vote for that for? Weird. Rashida Tlaib of Michigan, called the bill woefully inadequate in addressing the needs of people. Oh, yeah, that's why she voted against it. There's not enough social justice causes in it. I don't know why, because we're going to cover that right after this. As the bipartisan agreement slashed benefits to half of what was doled out of the initial CARES package passed in March at the beginning of the pandemic. The amount of help and support for our communities in this bill does not go nearly far enough, especially when our families have been waiting for over 8 months for more help. Or you could just open everything up and allow people to create their own stimulus. But whatever. That's actually not a bad take. It's probably worse than that, but I could be asked to actually see what Rashida Tlaib had to say on this matter. But you can kind of read between the lines when she says our people and our communities. The Polish. Tulsi Gabbard said of the checks that $600 is a slap in the face to every American struggling due to the pandemic. You deserve better. Yeah, I was super happy to see that. I don't know what the breakdown is, but obviously it fucking jettisoned right through Congress. Everybody was more than willing to just accept all the absurdity that could be hidden within 5,600 pages of schlock. That's the best way I can put that. Absolute schlock, because the New York Post has done a little bit more digging and we found a little bit more information on what the fuck is stuck in there. Billions in foreign aid, pet project stuff into COVID relief bill. No. Leave it up to the government to just earmark bills that were supposed to be helping, American citizens in order to nation build. Fucking never would have seen that one coming. Congress swiftly passed a $2.3 trillion COVID-19 relief and government funding bill on Monday that was stuffed with cash for foreign countries and policy pet projects for powerful legislators. Although the bill authorizes $600 stimulus checks for most Americans, a $300 weekly unemployment supplement, and $284 billion in small business loans, it also contains other more obscure provisions. The bill adds 2 national mall museums. What? bans the U.S. Postal Services from delivering e-cigarettes and makes online streaming of copyrighted material. It was even worse than what we touched on yesterday. Punishable by up to 10 years in prison. That is all copyrighted material. Music, video, the fucking comic strip even. Anything that you don't have copyright to. If you stream it, you could spend 10 years in the clink. And if you're thinking, okay, yeah, fair use is a thing, you should be able to use it. There shouldn't be any problem with that. Just take a look at all of the abuses that are going on YouTube when it comes to copyright claims, and how fair use has just become a doormat for anybody to come in and fucking wipe their feet on. Oh my God, I pray that Trump vetoes this. Because what does any of that shit have to do with a stimulus bill? Yeah, exactly. It's amazing what you can stuff in there in the middle of the night, and how your duly elected representatives will fucking enthusiastically support this. Oh, and just as a little side note, it's amazing how all of these legislators can go in and make an informed decision on a bill that's 5,600 pages long, but Amy Coney Barrett, the most intelligent and wise woman who's ever been on the Supreme Court, can recuse herself from a pre-election decision in Pennsylvania that would rule mail-in ballots unconstitutional. Really gets the old noggin jogging. But yeah, let's expand on the stuff the New York Post was highlighting there in the beginning. For example, capping a years-long effort, the bill creates new penalties for violating copyright laws and with unauthorized online streaming, creating felonies punishable by 5 years for first offenses and 10 years in prison for repeat offenses. Ugh. In the past decade, attempts to punish online piracy prompted broad social backlash that killed the effort. Yeah, exactly. So you could stick it in to a bill that you knew would be so massive and wouldn't be properly vetted. The stimulus bill language was pushed by Senator Tom Tillis, a Republican from North Carolina with deep neocon roots, and that's what the GOP wants to return to because it was so wildly successful. Retards. An effort to ban the United States Postal Services from delivering e-cigarettes, incorporated language, from a bill sponsored by Dianne Feinstein and Rose DeLauro. That ultimately just kind of goes back to big tobacco. Okay, because they don't quite own all of the e-cigarette companies. They have specific interests in specific companies when it comes to e-cigarettes and vapes. But because they don't own everything and the tobacco lobbies are just as sizable as they've ever been, they have significant sway when it comes to this stuff, so they're just trying to kneecap their competition. That's the long and short of that. Also included were 2 new museums for National Mall focusing on the histories of Latinos and women. Oh, God, rape me with a chimichanga. Senator Mike Lee, the good man out of Utah, this month outraged his colleagues by blocking new DC museums. Oh, the thought of him arguing there should not be separate but equal buildings, and they should instead be housed within the existing National Museum of American History. Wow. Utah senator has good take. Autists screech. Skeptics recoiled at the price tag of the U.S. foreign aid amid frequent news reports of needy Americans lining up for free food. Oh, I'm glad we get into this one now, because this is disturbing on a high level. Among the policies included is a condemnation of a possible role by the Chinese Communist Party in the election or the selection of Tibet's next Dalai Lama. I could not think of a more pressing issue than that. The current Tibetan Buddhist religious leader is 85, and he'll probably be old enough to run on the next Democratic ticket. So, at least he has that to look forward to. A $33 million earmark was included for democracy programs in Venezuela, which we touched on briefly, and $132 million was given to formerly Soviet Republic of Georgia. I'm just trying to ensure that they aren't going to rejoin the USSR. Oh, what's that? There's no USSR anymore? Yeah, exactly. The bill allotted $300 million for countering Chinese influence fund. I'd like to know more on that, okay? I'm not necessarily against that one. Then again, I'm also skeptical whenever there's something so positive when it comes to a name. And $290 million in the Countering Russian Influence Fund. Oh, okay, what's that? The USSR is still around according to all the neo-libs? Yeah, okay, that makes sense. It committed $101 million to fight wildlife poaching. I would just give Rangers rifles. And offered $2.5 million for internet freedom programs. Ugh, in closed societies. Why? Why? I guess they're going to have to rehire all of those big tech guys that Biden's putting in his cabinet. They probably need that money. The package commits $506 million to Central American regional security, including $45 million towards a nation's attorney general if they seek to fight corruption. Meanwhile, Bill Barr doesn't want to appoint a special counsel to the Hunter Biden laptop because there's no need for that. Oh, thank God his last day's tomorrow. The package included $453 million in assistance for Ukraine. You could just send them $453 and they wouldn't know the difference. I'm also quite Ukrainian, by the way. $700 million in economic support for the Sudan. We touched on that as well. And $10 million for, here it is, gender programs for Pakistan. I mentioned this in the first video. Lindsey Graham went on Fox News and justified this by saying because women in Pakistan cannot open bank accounts for themselves and they can't drive by themselves, they need that money. I'll let that one sink in for a minute. That fucking old queen. Representative Thomas Massey from Kentucky, I predicted the day our country's finance collapse, we will still be funding gender programs in Pakistan. Fucking guy rules. Yet he voted for this. Come on, Tom. Legislation additionally authorizes $4 billion in military loans for Jordan. Why? What's in Jordan? Pointy sticks and smooth rocks you can throw at your wife? And approves $250 million for Palestinians in a 5-year program intended to boost Palestinian employment to improve the chances of peace with Israel. Yes, because that's what the Palestinians need. More money to get peaceful with the Jews. It's not like one of Hamas's main funding principles is the death to all Jews. It's not like that's explicitly in their modus operandi. I forgot the proper terminology for that terrorist organization. Palestine aid was pushed by, remember these names, Nita Lowley from New York. Oh, Democrat. Jeff Fortenberry, Republican from Nebraska. There he is. Lindsey Graham from South Carolina. And, Chris Coons. Fuck you, from Delaware. There is also $500 million allocated to support Israel military purchases. God, don't they have enough? Including for the Iron Dome missile defense system. They've been funding that for fucking ever. Ooh, now we get to hear from Glenn Greenwald, who I've grown to like a lot more than when I first thought of him. But anyways, the $500 million to Israel is not technically part of the COVID bill, but a separate bill passed with foreign aid. Still, at the same time, Congress said they can't afford more than $600 in a one-time payment to Americans. Yeah, I'll let that sink in. Okay? You've seen all of that money that was a part of that fucking stimulus bill, and it makes you sick to your stomach that only $600 to some. To be fair, most Americans are going to get that $600, but $500 million for Israel, millions of dollars for Palestine, Jordan, Venezuela, but $600 for you because you're just a little people. And remember, your vote matters. Although some legislators notched achievements in the bill, of course. Others said it was ridiculous to ram through such a massive measure. Andy Biggs. What a strong name. Oh, and he's from Arizona. Of course he's from Arizona. They have some of the best names ever. Fuck, their capital's named after a bird that's on fire. No one will be able to read it all in its entirety. Special interests win. Americans lose. Do we have to... I'll think of something fun to say after this. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who represents parts of the Bronx and Queens, tweeted, "It's not good enough to hear about this. About what's in the bill. Members of Congress need to see and read the bill we are expected to vote on. But what did you do anyways? You fucking raised your stupid little socialist hand up into the air, and no, you didn't call for another drink. You just went ahead and voted for it all stupidly. Tell us again how older people should wait for the COVID vaccine while first responders get it, but then at the same time post a selfie of you getting a vaccine. I'll wait for your well thought out response, you stupid little socialist cunt." See, it's fun to call commies bad names, so we can end on that one. How about that? Now that you guys know more about what's in that I was just about to call it a socialist bill, but is that a Freudian slip or just an accurate representation? I'll leave that up for you to decide. But now that you guys know what's more in this bill, do you really think that it's worth $600 one time in your pocket? I don't think so. Listen, I'm not getting any of this stimulus money. I'm just telling you guys what you're going to be getting and also what you're going to be paying for. But at the same time, yeah, up here in Canada, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm on the wrong end of the country. I don't get any fucking stimulus payments. But yeah, yeah, it's really seems underwhelming, and it's still sitting on Trump's desk at time of recording. So who knows what he's gonna do with it? Maybe he's just gonna wait for Congress, or make Congress wait until after Christmas, because they made the American public wait until after a new president was elected in order to ram this little fucking pound puppy project through. Anyways, guys, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.